Welcome back to the 9th Gym program, and today we are talking about Stoutland, one of the good boys of Pokemon. So, I like this Pokemon a lot. It actually has 3 really good abilities. We only have 2 listed down here, being SANDRUSH and Intimidate, but it also does have Scrappy, which allows it to hit Ghost-type Pokemon with its Fighting and Normal-type moves, which is pretty good. And I believe it's both Fighting and Normal, but it could be just Normal. Yep, Fighting and Normal. It's also immune to Intimidate with that ability, which is very, very solid because, you know, we have Arcanine in Series 6 and Incineroar and Arcanine in Series 5. So both are really relevant. Yeah, I like that that ability a lot. But SANDRUSH and Intimidate are the ones we are using today. I have 2 builds featured here for VGC for Stoutland and 1 for singles, so definitely stay tuned. So let's talk about it. So what does SANDRUSH do? Well, it doubles its speed in Sandstorm, which is really, really strong, making it a good partner for Tyranitar in Series 5, but Gigalith as well in Series 6. So if you want to play this Pokemon in Series 6, I think it might be better in Series 6 because we don't have as many, you know, fighting type threats going around, which is in fact its only weakness, being a mono normal type Pokemon. Pretty interesting. So SANDRUSH is really cool, and then we also have Intimidate for it if you don't really want to synergize it with any Pokemon in particular. It can be a good Pokemon with Intimidate and Life Orb Dynamax, or even just like not Dynamaxing and still a supportive Pokemon. So that works pretty well. Anyway, SANDRUSH and Intimidate are both really good. Let's go ahead and look at some stats. So Stoutland actually is a really well-rounded Pokemon in the fact that all of its stats are pretty decent except for special attack, which doesn't matter at all. So HP at 85 is pretty average, but defense and special defense both being at 90 is super average as well, but all 3 being pretty average is actually pretty good. So, you know, it's all around natural bulk is not actually bad, and with Snarl or Intimidate, you're actually capable of living a good couple of like super effective attacks right off the bat, which is pretty good. And not even just super effective attacks, just like super big attacks, things like Porygon Z Hyper Beam Max move with Life Orb, you can live it with a Snarl, so that's really cool. So yeah, Stoutland can be an out to Porygon Z on SANDRUSH teams, because, you know, you need the SANDRUSH to outspeed it, unfortunately. Still really relevant, though, because, yeah, Stoutland's pretty cool. Anyway, so attack stat is actually really good at 110. You know, it's not, like, crazy, but it's really solid. SANDRUSH, also, like, allows you to be, like, really fast and, like, really strong. So you can just, like, hit really hard Giga Impacts. I said hard or weird there. You can hit really hard Giga Impacts, which is really good. But you also have, you know, Scrappy, meaning that you can't get intimidated. So you can use this Pokemon as a really good offensive Pokemon. Even in single Spotlight, I have it for like Choice Band Scrappy, and it's just doing a lot of damage to everything and always just hitting and not being intimidated is very good. So yeah, I like that a lot as well. And then our speed is at 80, which is pretty solid for a SANDRUSH Pokemon, and also not bad in general for, you know, like a Stoutland that just hits really hard max strikes. It's not bad at all. Anyway, that is going to be it for our overview. Let's go ahead and move on to the builds for VGC. So I have 2 builds, like I was saying. One is focusing around SANDRUSH, and the other is just like an Intimidate, Life Orb, Dynamax Pokemon. So we'll touch both of them. Let's talk about the SANDRUSH build first, because I do think it's better. Being a supportive Pokemon for, you know, that with Gigalith, you have a lot of good options. And I have a really complicated EV spread here, but there's only a couple of relevant things about it, and we'll talk about those in a minute. Let's go ahead and just talk about an overview. So SANDRUSH and Choppleberry. So SANDRUSH is pretty self-explanatory since I said we're going to pair it with Gigalith, so that we can get that double speed. But we have Choppleberry, which is actually really interesting. With Poliwrath being a top 10... I said Poliwrath. With Urshifu being a top 10 Pokemon, the reason I said Poliwrath, just so you guys don't think I'm like insane for thinking Poliwrath was a top 10 Pokemon, Urshifu isn't on the damage calc, so I have to look up Poliwrath every time I want to use the water Urshifu, and then it just changes stats, just so you know. Give a little bit of background there. Anyway, so Choppleberry lets us live a close combat from Urshifu, which is really, really good. Even living a Choice Band Urshifu's close combat, which is really, really cool that we can live that with Choppleberry. So that's good. We only have 1 weakness, so why not use a Choppleberry for that 1 weakness and make the Pokemon have no weaknesses? It's pretty good. So Choppleberry, SANDRUSH, pretty cool stuff. We have this complicated EV nature that we'll talk about in a moment. Let's talk about the moves. So I ran Giga Impact just because I wanted an attack. You could change this for like Retaliate or something, but the Pokemon did lose Return, which is actually a pretty big deal because now you don't just have like a normal attack. You know, you could go for Facade as well. Facade is also a good you know, way of play. I just liked Giga Impact because it's a big attack. So I like that. We have Snarl, Charge. Charm. That's supposed to be Charm. What? Charm. Why did it put Charge? That's crazy. Alright, this is Charm. You're probably just like, Charge, dude, what? For the people that aren't listening, that's probably insane. You're probably like, dude, what is this guy? Anyway, so Snarl, Charm, and After You. The name of the game is just damage deafening, as well as being able to be fast with our partner Pokemon as well. So we have Charm, which is actually really cool. Does this Pokemon get Bulldoze? Wait, am I insane for not using Bulldoze here? No, okay, that's fine. Anyway, so Gigalith is slow. And we have After You, which is really good. It makes the Pokemon can be fast. So you can do fast rock slides and hit, you know, like really good, potentially flinching Pokemon, which is really cool. And you have different options. But I think After You is a really relevant attack on Stoutland. And we have a lot of other options, so you can definitely switch it out. But I think this is a cool set. Snarl is needed to stop PZ. This Pokemon can be a PZ counter on your like rock team, on your Sandstorm team, which is really cool. And then Snarl is also just good in the meta with a lot of big special attackers, things like Primarina and sneeze. Excuse me. Well, this video is a mess. Anyway, so Charm is good. If you don't know what Charm does, it -2s the attack of the target. So essentially you have Snarl, which is really good because it's a fast Snarl, but you also have fast Charm. So you can, against a physical attacker Pokemon, you can just Charm it, and now it doesn't do very relevant damage. But against a special attacking Pokemon, you also have Snarl, which is really, really good. I like both of these attacks a lot on this Pokemon. After You is cool, and then one attack. Like I said, you can change this to Return. Definitely is a good option as well. But yeah, I like it. Anyway, as far as our EV spread, let's talk about it. So I put in 252 into HP and 28 into special defense. Now this is necessary. This for the Snarl PZ matchup. After a Snarl, you'll look at the damage calc and be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. After a Snarl, Life Orb PZ with Hyper Beam Max Strike is not going to be taking out Stoutland. So Snarl, you can then get a Snarl off turn 1. If it's paired with PZ, then boom, you're good. You Snarl, and then next turn you get another Snarl, and now the PZ is really not that big of a threat, and you just, like, all that they're doing really is making you slower, essentially. I mean, the damage is still going to be relevant, but, like, not that relevant. It's not going to be insane. So that's really good. Snarl's good. And then we put 4 into defense. Alright, so then I put 188 into speed, just so that we can outspeed everything. We get to 248, which outspeeds like Scarf Hydreigon and a bunch of Scarf Pokemon, while also being able to outspeed Dragapult in you know, Series 5, which is really relevant for the Players Cup. And then also yeah, just everything in the game pretty much, like Weavile, Jolteon, we outspeed all of those Pokemon in Sand. So that's needed for that. And then we just put the rest into 2 different EVs, because if you just put into 1, we'd be wasting. So we just put 4 into defense and then 36 into attack, just to make our Giga Impact or like Facade really strong. So that's why that EV spread. I know it's kind of weird looking, but yeah, that is the SANDRUSH ability Stoutland. Let's go ahead and look at the other Stoutland real quick. So Stoutland out Life Orb, Intimidate. Pretty much you just want to bring it in. It gets an Intimidate, which is good, but it's not like really why we're using the Pokemon. You could also go for a Scrappy so that you don't get intimidated. Both are really good. I just went for Intimidate because you know, like I don't think a lot of like people with Arcanine are going to be expecting Stoutland to be not a support and expect it to be doing a lot of damage. So I don't think they're going to Intimidate it right off the bat every time, meaning that you get more value out of Intimidate, in my opinion, like most of the time. It just seems like it. But you can definitely test and try both ways. But yeah, Stoutland's pretty cool with that. We gave it Life Orb so that we can Dynamax and still get 30% damage, or like 30% damage boosted, which is really good. And then I just gave it 3 attacks and Protect. Being Giga Impact, which is our best root move for Max Strike, being really, really strong Max Strikes. And then Play Rough, Superpower, and Protect. Play Rough, I think the Fairy Spread is really good, and also activating, you know, the Misty Terrain is really solid. And then we have Superpower buffing ourself and our partner Pokemon, which can be really good. So yeah, I like it a lot. I think Stoutland is pretty cool as this type of Pokemon. Anyway, let's look at some other options for moves here real quick. So for the Life Orb, mostly for the attacking one, we have Thunderfang, Crunch, Dig, Iron Fangs, and Psychic Fangs, which are all good, or Iron Head. and Psychic Fangs. All are really good and offer really good max move secondary effects, mostly Dig, Iron Head, and Thunderfang. Thunderfang being able to give you a better matchup against Amoonguss, and then Dig and Iron Head both being able to supplement your defense in special defense of you and your partner Pokemon, the Stoutland and partner Pokemon, so that's really good. Psychic Fangs giving you a better matchup against Lapras, Gmax, mostly because, well, it sets Aurora Veil, and also against Grimmsnarl, which has been picking up a lot of steam in Series 6. So I think all of those are really good offensive moves. As far as supportive moves, you can go with like Helping Hand, Yawn, Thunderwave, Baby Doll Eyes. All are really good. Yawn is really solid, and so Thunderwave, both for just like supporting your partner Pokemon, which is usually going to be like Gigalith on the SANDRUSH side, or like other Pokemon, other offensive Pokemon. So yeah, Stoutland likes those moves a lot. Helping Hand is really good for just like pushing damage calcs, and then Baby Doll Eyes is also really solid just because, well, I forget what Baby Doll Eyes even does, actually. Like, I clicked that in because I forgot it. Lowers the target attack by 1. So, but it hits 100% of the time, which is, like, pretty okay. But, yeah, I think Charm is, like, better, but you're going to miss, like, every now and again with Charm. So, yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, yeah, I like Stoutland a lot. I think it's good. I think either way is pretty cool. But we're already 11 minutes in, so let's talk about speed tiers and stuff real quick, and then move on. So speed tiers, it's real quick because we don't have to talk too much about it. So SANDRUSH gives us 248, which is really fast. The only Pokemon that are outspeeding us realistically are going to be other weather Pokemon. I EV'd it perfectly to outspeed Hydreigon's Scarf, which isn't super relevant, but I think it is probably the most used way of playing Hydreigon. But without Dragapult in the meta, maybe it's not. I don't know, but playing around with the speed tiers, I think is pretty relevant to be at this speed. We outspeed every Scarf Pokemon pretty comfortably, which is pretty good. And Dragapult in Series 5, which is really cool. Jolteon, Weavile, Ribombee, Toxtricity, Dracovish at Scarf. Like, there's a lot of good things that we outspeed with Stoutland, and you just want to keep the sand up, which is good. It makes sense. Next, we have some damage calcs. So damage calcs are pretty relevant for this Pokemon. So my 3 defensive calcs at first are going to be the defensive boy, and then the 3 offensive are going to be offensive boy. So just to clear that up. Anyway, so Dynamax Snarled, adaptability Life Orb, max invested Porygon Z max strike is hitting 83 to 98.9%. Like I said, this gives us a guaranteed with this spread and a Snarl, which is really good, meaning a guaranteed 2-hit KO. We live the first attack, and then we get to Snarl again. Sacrificing Stoutland, but it's okay. Like, the Porygon Z isn't really going to be pressuring Gigalith that much, so a couple of Snarls and then like maxing your Gigalith means that your opponent can't really do that much, and they're not going to get very much value out of the Porygon Z. You kill the Clefairy, and then the Porygon Z is like kind of just a non-threat. Maybe it'll come back with like a powerful Hyper Beam if they switch out later, but still, that's not that big of a deal. Next, we have Urshifu Close Combat. This is even with Choice Band into the Chople Berry Stoutland, hitting 86 to 102, which is a little bit, it has an 18% chance to OHKO, but, you can pour a little bit more into defense by taking away from the attack, so that's definitely a good option, and maybe something I should have done. I wasn't expecting to have to EV for Choice Band, but then I was like, wait, what about Choice Band? Because I have seen Choice Band Urshifu a couple of times, and I was like, wow, this is a really good calc. So, yeah, you can definitely change it a little bit, add a little bit from the attack stat into the defense here, but I still think, this is a pretty competent spread, so it's not bad. Next, we have Primarina Max Geyser with Life Orb and Max Invested with Quiet Nature or Modest Nature into the 252-28. It does like almost a guaranteed OHKO, but if you Snarl, it hits down to 65 to 77, which is really good. And you probably would want to Snarl in the face of Primarina anyway, because Snarling the Primarina with Sand Up for Gigalith, you're actually looking like it's probably a solid matchup, which is pretty cool. Next, we have Dynamax Life Orb Stoutland. Now this is where we're getting into our offensive boy calcs. Life Orb Max Starfall into a not defensive Urshifu is hitting 98 to 116, which is guaranteed OHKO. Not actually, it's almost guaranteed OHKO. 81.3, which is something that I'd usually like try to make the calcs like just work, but I didn't want to take away Jolly Nature, so yeah, I still think it's pretty good though. Next, we have our Helping Hand Dynamax Life Orb Boy into a Moongus with Max Strike. With Helping Hand, we can push this into a 121 to 144 guaranteed OHKO, which is really, really good. I mean, this is a random spread, and they'll typically have a little bit more defense maybe, but they are kind of leaning more towards special defense in this current meta. So, yeah, this is still a really relevant calc. Next, we have our Stoutland Max Strike into Talonflame. I kind of just wanted more filler. that just said, hey, we kill this thing. So yeah, Talonflame's dead. Anyway, let's move on to our single spotlight real quick before I end the video. We're already on almost 15 minutes, so I'm just going to rush through this. I don't think it's too great in singles, but it's not bad. Scrappy means you can't get intimidated. Choice Band means you do more damage, 50% additional. It's a great revenge killer with Retaliate, which is really cool. That would be return, or even like strength. Like Smogon recommended strength, but we don't get strength anymore. But I think Retaliate's still really solid. You could go for Giga Impact there too, but like using 2 turns kind of sucks, especially in singles when your partner Pokemon can't like pull that weight of the next turn. So yeah, but Retaliate, Facade is pretty good, and then you have Superpower and Play Rough, which are also really good coverage for the Pokemon. I think it's good, and then we just went for Jolly Nature 252 into speed, and then 252 into attack, just being as fast as possible while doing as much damage as possible while not taking away from the speed. So yeah, I like it a lot. I think Stoutland's actually really relevant. Like, I think it's actually really solid in VGC, especially with the SANDRUSH ability, making like a very, very good supportive boy with Snarl, giving you a good PZ matchup, as well as a bunch of other really relevant Pokemon in the game, and being able to live like PZ and Urshifu, which should be like bad matchups, being able to live them and like charm the Urshifu, or even, well, I guess not charm the Urshifu, because like the this Surgeon Strike is still gonna kill Gigalith, but yeah, you can make your bad matchups into like pretty okay matchups, which is really good. And I think Stoutland's a pretty relevant Pokemon, and Intimidate or Scrappy, like big boy Dynamax, can also be really solid. So yeah, and sum up, I like Stoutland a lot. Anyway, that is going to be it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Makes a huge difference. Also, join the Patreon, join the Discord, follow me on Twitter. Bunch of big things happening, you know, live streams starting soon. So definitely stay tuned for further updates. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great week. Week starting off with a good video of Stoutland. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great month. Bye.